was 1929, and the United States stood on the edge of one of the worst economic disasters in history. Banks were collapsing, businesses were shutting down, and millions of people were suddenly left without jobs or income. Across the country, uncertainty and fear became part of everyday life. Among those affected was a 20-year-old young man from North Carolina named Herman Lay. He had just begun building his career at Sunshine Biscuits, a company that produced cookies, crackers, and cereals. It seemed like a promising start, a stepping stone into the business world. But when the Great Depression struck, everything changed overnight. Jobs disappeared, incomes were slashed, and opportunities vanished. Lay, like millions of others, found himself unemployed with no safety net, no backup plan, and no guarantee of what would come next. Yet what looked like failure at the time would eventually become the foundation of one of the most extraordinary business success stories in history. Herman Lay's journey did not begin with wealth or privilege. Born in 1909 in Charlotte, North Carolina, he grew up in a modest household. His father worked as a bookkeeper, and his mother stayed at home, managing the family. There was nothing in his early life that pointed toward greatness or hinted at the empire he would one day build. However, from a young age, Lay showed a natural instinct for business. While other children were focused on play, Lay was already learning how to sell. He ran a small soda stand in his neighborhood, and it quickly became so successful that he had to hire other children to help him manage the demand. This early experience revealed something important about his character. He didn't just want to earn money, he wanted to build something. He understood value, customer needs, and opportunity long before he fully understood the world. As he grew older, Lay was given what many would consider a golden opportunity, a fully funded athletic scholarship to attend college. For most people, this would have been a clear path toward stability and success. But Lay saw things differently. He realized that formal education was not aligned with what he truly wanted. He wasn't interested in theory or textbooks. He wanted real-world experience. He wanted to learn how businesses worked, how markets behaved, and how opportunities could be created from nothing. So, in a decision that seemed risky and unconventional, he walked away from college. It was a bold move, but it reflected his mindset. He was willing to give up security in pursuit of something greater. After losing his job during the Great Depression, Lay eventually found work with the Barrett Food Company in Nashville, Tennessee. This job would prove to be a turning point in his life. Unlike his previous roles, this position gave him exposure to the world of food distribution and sales. But Lay didn't just do his job, he went beyond it. He began experimenting with new ideas, constantly looking for ways to stand out and increase his value. One of his most important ideas involved something simple: potato chips. At the time, potato chips were not the popular snack we know today. They were fragile, difficult to store, and mostly available in restaurants rather than stores. However, Lay saw potential where others saw limitations. A key development had occurred just a few years earlier in 1926, the introduction of wax-sealed packaging for potato chips. This innovation allowed chips to stay fresh for longer periods, making them portable and suitable for retail sales. While many people overlooked this advancement, Lay immediately recognized its significance. He understood that this small change could transform potato chips from a niche product into a LY consumed snack. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he began carrying bags of potato chips in the back of his Ford Model A as he traveled for work. He sold them directly to customers, building relationships and gaining insight into what people wanted. Each sale was more than just a transaction. It was a step toward understanding a growing market. After gaining years of experience in the food industry, Lay decided it was time to take a major risk. He borrowed $2,000, a significant amount of money at the time, and used it to purchase a snack distribution business. He renamed it H.W. Lay & Company. This decision marked the true beginning of his entrepreneurial journey. It was not just a business move, it was a declaration of independence. Lay was no longer working for someone else. He was building something of his own. And he didn't stop there. Within a few years, he raised $40,000 through stock sales and used it to acquire the entire Barrett Food Company. To many observers, this seemed like an incredibly risky move. Investors were nervous, and some feared they might lose everything. But Lay believed in his vision. He wanted to create an affordable, high-quality snack that could be enjoyed by everyday Americans. He focused on scaling production, improving distribution, and building a recognizable brand. One of Lay's greatest strengths was his understanding of marketing. In 1944, he made a groundbreaking decision that would set his company apart from competitors. He began advertising on television. At the time, television was still a relatively new medium, and few companies were using it for advertising. Lay recognized its potential and used it to reach a wider audience than ever before. This move helped establish his brand as a household name. Along with television advertising came one of the most iconic slogans in marketing history, "Bet you can't eat just one." This simple phrase captured the addictive nature of potato chips and turned them into more than just a snack. It made them an experience. Lay also used celebrity endorsements to further strengthen his brand, including hiring the actor who played the Cowardly Lion in The Wizard of Oz. These strategies worked brilliantly, and Lay's chips quickly became America's favorite. Innovation did not stop with marketing. Lay understood that to stay ahead of competitors, he needed to continuously improve his product. For many years, potato chips were sold with only one flavor, salt. But Lay saw an opportunity to expand. He pursued a new cooking technique developed by Joe Spud Murphy, which allowed seasoning to be added during the cooking process. This breakthrough made it possible to produce flavored chips on a large scale. The introduction of flavors like cheese and onion and salt and vinegar transformed the industry. Suddenly, consumers had choices, and those choices made the product more exciting. Lay's was no longer just selling chips, it was selling variety, innovation, and enjoyment. This move gave the company a significant competitive advantage and helped it dominate the market. By the early 1960s, Lay's had become a leading force in the potato chip industry. However, there was one major competitor that threatened its dominance: the Frito Company. Founded by C. E. Doolan, Frito was producing corn chips and had built a strong presence in the market. In fact, it was outselling Lay's by a significant margin. A confrontation between the two companies seemed inevitable. Many expected a fierce competition that would define the future of the snack industry. But once again, Lay chose a different approach. Instead of engaging in a battle, he proposed a merger. In 1961, the two companies joined forces to create Frito-Lay. This decision changed everything. It created the first national snack food giant in the United States and positioned the company for long-term success. Remarkably, Lay ensured that he remained CEO of the newly formed company, maintaining control over its direction. Just a few years later, Lay made another strategic move that would elevate the business to an entirely new level. In 1965, he met with Don Kendall, the CEO of Pepsi-Cola. Lay recognized the potential of combining snack foods with beverages. He believed that by merging the two industries, they could create a powerful synergy that would dominate the market. Legend has it that Lay wrote the proposal on the back of a napkin. Kendall agreed, and the merger led to the creation of PepsiCo. This marked the beginning of a global powerhouse. With the backing of PepsiCo, Frito-Lay was able to expand internationally, reaching markets around the world and becoming one of the most recognized food brands in history. Today, the impact of Lay's vision is evident everywhere. The brand is available in more than 200 flavors worldwide, with region-specific varieties tailored to local tastes. In the United Kingdom, it is known as Walkers, in Mexico, Sabritas, and in Australia, Smith's. The company dominates a significant portion of the global snack market and plays a major role in PepsiCo's billions in annual revenue. What started as a small side hustle selling chips from the back of a car has grown into a global empire that reaches millions of people every day. Herman Lay's success was not the result of luck alone. It was driven by a combination of qualities that set him apart. He had the ability to turn problems into opportunities, as seen when he used his unemployment during the Great Depression as motivation to build something of his own. He was quick to recognize trends, such as the potential of wax-sealed packaging. He was willing to take risks, whether it involved borrowing money, acquiring companies, or pursuing mergers. He understood the power of marketing and used it to create a strong emotional connection with consumers. Perhaps most importantly, he thought beyond competition. Instead of trying to defeat his rivals, he found ways to collaborate with them, creating stronger and more sustainable businesses. Despite his immense success, Lay never forgot where he came from. In his later years, he focused on giving back to the community. He established initiatives like the Lay's Scholarship to support young entrepreneurs and help them achieve their dreams. He remained actively involved in the company, serving on PepsiCo's executive council until his death in 1982. His legacy, however, did not end with him. It lives on in the company he built and the millions of people who enjoy its products every day. The next time you hold a bag of Lay's, remember, it didn't start in a factory. It started in the back of a car, with a man who refused to give up. You're still here for a reason. Subscribe and let's level up together.